in Congo, in South Sudan, and in Egypt. In Egypt, we are actually doing organic farming. First time.
Let's circle back up on those themes. Those are very important themes. As I want to let Roberta set the stage, if she could. So many of you've heard that we're doing this event partnering with Gaia, Roberta Calarese. There's a lot of work that's been happening behind the scenes to put this together, but I wanted to, you know, as I was summarizing, the venue is spectacular. The agenda, the participants from the Saudi side and the international side, spectacular. We're trying to figure out, who are the appropriate people that should be there. Still looking for some sponsors. We're nailing down a lot of hotel options for you, and we're excited. So maybe with that, Roberta, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark. But what would you like me to cover? To just give a background introduction to World with Purpose?
Yeah, some people don't know you, World with Purpose, where it's come from, and if you want to share, but I'm gonna pull up the Canva presentation in a second.
So World with Purpose is really a disruptive conversation to drive transformation in the private sector to deliver long-term value beyond profitability, starting from purpose. And the real aim is simply to plant seeds of awareness in the minds of business leaders so that they can actually truly support the sustainable development goals and enable global prosperity. So try to bring business to the table in enabling a world that works for all. So we did the first edition under the Ministry of Economy of the UAE in partnership with the UAE CSR Fund, but it's really, the presence is deep institutional businesses. So we don't really look at, the impact investors and the impact businesses because they're already on the journey. So we kind of look at those players that are, that need to be brought into the game to enable global prosperity. The second edition of World with Purpose is going to be in Saudi Arabia on the 28th and 29th of April, and is going to have a special focus, which is the role of family businesses in enabling global prosperity, because family businesses in this part of the world run 80% of the economy, but are not part of these conversations. And so we thought that it would be a great idea actually to bring to KSA global family businesses to meet the Saudi family businesses and forge partnerships for change. For those of you who will know, Saudi Arabia has recently launched Vision 2030, which is an incredible, ambitious vision for the country, and also really aimed at creating sustainable development in the region. However, FDI is one of the key things that they're looking into it, but FDI doesn't just come like overnight because somebody launches a great vision, right? So we need to put together in place some very meaningful building blocks that are going to enable FDI along the line, right? And in my opinion, starting conversations and getting to know investors and who are the players on the ground, who are the go-to people in the government of Saudi Arabia is going to be helping in getting this conversation off the ground. The summit is going to be divided into two parts. One day is going to be devoted to global thought leadership and really planting the seeds of awareness with incredible global thought leaders who are purpose heroes and amazing speakers, because I believe that when you're able to inspire business leaders, that's when you can activate the intelligence of the heart, and that's when they believe that they can do so much more than when they actually sit in their head. And the second day is going to be devoted to disruptive investment roundtables run by 361 firm, but we're really going to be showcasing some of the most purposeful technological innovations that is taking place today. We're going to be looking at themes like health tech, desert tech, and regenerative agriculture. We're going to be looking at ed tech, fintech, prop tech, and also the practical application of artificial intelligence in upgrading age-old industries such as manufacturing and logistics. In parallel, we'll be running a Women with Purpose theme that is going to be slightly different to the investment roundtables, but it's going to be much more of workshops and collaborative discussions between global business women leaders and Saudi family women business leaders. So I don't know, Mark, if you want me to cover anything else. We're also in discussions with the Ministry of Economy because, of course, these conversations are deeply meaningful for the strategic evolution of the economy of countries. And so hopefully this is going to be closed very soon.
Correct.
Very interesting.
I wasn't keeping up with you, Roberta, but all of this is in this document, or a lot of it. It's in our digest. And Roberta's been in country for over 20 years as a lawyer, helping both local and the regional and international companies and families navigate. And it's been a pleasure working with her. But with the idea is that we want to come in and add a lot of value as a community to Saudi, to Riyadh, with their Vision 2030. Of course, they have a lot of money, right? And yes, they're trying to deploy it in an optimized way. But they also want to grow their country with bring in innovation and innovators. And so if you want to be part of that, that's really what we're saying, that you can we have a few people that if you want to come, why and how and what can you bring to the table is part of our ask here.
And I think, Mark, sorry, maybe one more thing that I would like to add. Our events are very, very small events. So they're maximum 200 people and they're by invitation only. So we handpick the people that actually attend World with Purpose to make sure that we have the right audience and that the seeds of awareness that we plant are planted in meaningful grounds that actually when they go back to running their companies, their businesses, their family offices, actually that they can do disruptive transformation there.
Robert, I have a question to ask you.
Go.
So while you're actually doing this, are these family offices that are in Riyadh or in Jeddah, or where are they located?
It's actually all of Saudi Arabia.
The total
So
Saudi
they're all
Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. It's both, I mean, and Jeddah and Riyadh are being the two big ones, but we have the Dammam, we have Khobar. So some of them, and some of the families have different members in different parts of the country.
So when they actually use the internal law, are they using the Saudi law, or we can go under the Commonwealth law?
No, in Saudi, you don't have Commonwealth law. So maybe I should have also mentioned that actually when I came to the UAE, one of my biggest projects that I have done here was actually funding the Dubai International Financial Center. So I actually amended the UAE constitution for the first time in the history of the country, and we actually exempted all the civil and commercial laws of the UAE to recreate a common law jurisdiction within a civil law country for the very reason that to be successful, we actually had to guarantee the protection of investor rights, right? And to create a legal framework that they were actually used to. Saudi is not there yet. And that goes back to my point that I made before, that I think it's very important to start to have these meaningful conversations also for potential investors in Saudi to also start to explain what is it that they need to have in place before actually they can come and invest in the country.
All right, so I will actually, Mark, I will actually join in. You can actually send me the invitation. Then I'll join you. I'm actually doing a project for a hospital in Riyadh right now, so that'll be very interesting.
So yeah, the first thing to do, and I'll put this into the chat again, or maybe for the first time into the chat. If you scroll down to this, even the allocators, we're asking everybody to fill out this form. There's one on Gaia's site, there's one on our site, but it's the same. It's like, it's just to understand where you're coming from as it relates to this, where you can add value. Because we want to, and then do more and more connecting so that you can meet the right families, the right projects in the regions, and vice versa. So thank you. And I'll direct everybody, if you could go through that site.
Roberta, can I ask you a quick question? Do you find that a lot of these families already connected to organizations that themselves are a bridge to Western investment in both directions? I used to work for one of them.
Well, I'll let Roberta answer that, but there's connection and then there's real connection.
Well, I'm just saying, are they, they tend to be very inward focused, the type of people you bring, or are they already connected in other ways to the outside world?
So the large family businesses in Saudi, I think, are deeply connected globally. If you had asked me that question in the UAE, I would have answered that they're actually deeply inwardly focused. And so, doing a world with purpose for family businesses in the UAE would not have made a lot of sense. And also, they don't really interact so much with the government. So kind of they do their own thing. They're very regional focused. But Saudi family businesses are actually quite global. One of the big ones who is also going to be a sponsor is Mohammed Yusuf Nagy. They are the representative of Mars, of Estee Lauder, so some of the big brands in Saudi Arabia. So I would definitely say that, maybe they know each other. I'm not sure how much business they do between family businesses, but definitely, they have a global presence, and also their families that do invest deeply outside of Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay, I didn't know if there were different groups. I've met many that are like what you described. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Mark?
Please, I speak now.
Hi, sorry, I've been late, so I haven't heard all the information, but I just want to mention that on the 30th of April, we have scheduled to open office of Polish companies in Riyadh. I will have it confirmed within the next few days. And if it's so, I will have a group of investors and companies from Poland in Riyadh. So if I know for sure I'm coming, I will come earlier. And if it's possible, I would like to participate. But also, if you are interested, I can also look with you and Mark for the list of the people. And maybe we want to invite someone who can be, good to bring.
That's right. We talked about that months ago. Now it's
Hey, Roberta, this is Peter Lo. I work with the U.S. government and others, but I'm in private practice as a lawyer. But a big group went to Riyadh last week. I don't know if you met with them from YPO and also from some government officials, and they did a tour of the country, visited Saudi Aramco. I don't know if you're familiar with that meeting. I just sent Mark a video of the prep for that meeting, but I'm sure there's a lot of meetings going on. But there were some pretty senior people that attended that. So I don't know if you were involved in that or were aware of that. Yeah, I'm sending Mark the.
But we like YPO. It has some spiritual cousin in some ways. So
Yeah, I sent you that video, Mark, to your phone, so you should have that.
Is that something you'd be happy to share with us all? Is it, Pete?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine to share. Yeah, it's from the YPO, so.
Thank you.
anyone else? So
I have a question, Mark. This is Sarah. Yeah, so for the companies, I know it's like a match, the both side, the investors also entrepreneur side. For the company and attending this event, are they all based upon the business in Saudi only or global as well? Like try to understand the dynamic. Yeah.
it's both. Really, that's the whole value add, right? Many of the internationals are looking to really understand Saudi and build relationships and vice versa. If I answered your question, or maybe Roberta can speak to it. The other thing is, this is not only about Saudi. This is about World with Purpose's agenda, and it goes next. If I take you back to where we're going, if I can hit the right buttons. Someone mentioned Africa earlier. That's where we're going next. In fact, we were going to go to Africa, but because of this bridge, we thought it was smart to build another bridge to Saudi and then go to Africa. And then beyond that to Europe and etc.
Yeah. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Now, speaking of any other questions? I know Lincoln,
Mark?
you and I spoke earlier, and I'd like to get you and Roberta and I on a call. I don't want to steal your thunder because you bring some interesting content that could come along with this too.
Mark, hi, it's Wilmot. I just wanted to find out more. Can you just say briefly, I know this isn't the focus, but when you plan to come to Africa and what the status of that is in terms of the planning?
Well,
So
it's sort of
yeah.
so like Roberta and I play tennis, so that's like the next tennis ball to hit. I got to hit this ball really well. But Roberta, maybe you want to talk to that.
So we plan to go to Africa 2026, so around April time as well, and most likely it's going to take place in South Africa in Cape Town.
Thank you.
And maybe one more thing to just add is really that the focus of World with Purpose Africa will be private and public partnerships.
Okay, great.
And Wilmot, where are you at the moment?
In Kenya, in Nairobi.
Yep.
So I have some ideas. I'm happy to help with that whenever you have time. Thanks.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
Mark,
Hi,
Barry
Barry.
Johnson here.
Hi,
Haven't
Barry.
seen you in a while. Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you.
So Chris Pina reconnected me here. I get some of your things, but I've been kind of off busy building the next platform. As you know, my history is senior executive in single family offices, US global. And I took a little bit of break and I'm back now launching in the next couple of months a platform to bring ultra wealthy African families to build family offices for them under a particular model that we have that I've kind of developed after I was married into an ultra wealthy family in Africa. And so I got to see firsthand a lot of the issues, a lot of the opportunities, and how those families are often underserved, despite having obviously good banking and other relationships. And so
maybe Barry, what
I was going to say, this is relevant because we're actually going to headquarter in the UAE, and some of my partners are private equity folks that have made investments in the Middle East, and so I wanted to let you know that and say that this is very resonant to me. I really want to participate, and there could be content that we could bring. There could be families. I just wanted to make sure how the platform that we're building relates to this and could help.
You know, I just had a brainstorm, Roberta. Maybe in our agenda, we should sort of end part of it with Africa as we move to the next step, and we can sort of begin those conversations. But you've been thinking about this more than I have, so that might be good. And even if it wasn't so central, we could create a little module breakfast the next day, or you'd understand, given the bridges with UAE and Saudi back to the region, you might find this to be relevant this year, not just next year.
Let's discuss it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to double click on that because I think if you're thinking about public-private partnerships, Roberta and Mark, another network to consider is the emerging network of African sovereign wealth funds, which are really taking off. And of course, they're more prominent in the Middle East. But there's a meeting in June. You probably should know about, called the African Sovereign Investors Forum. It's a convening. It'll be in Lagos this year, most likely. Most likely. That's not official, but I think that it's pointing that way.
Excellent.
Hey, Wilmot, Barry Johnson here. We should connect. I see
Sure.
we share Yale as alma mater, and obviously we're covering a lot of turf. It's amazing we actually aren't talking to each other every day. So let's please do.
Sure, thanks. I'll show my face. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm not on the coast, but I'm here in Kenya.
Just before we and yeah, definitely exchange, and we probably be forming steering committees for the next one soon. We do have at 11, just so everyone knows, every week at 11 o'clock on Tuesdays we have a briefing. This is going to be on the glorious topic of inflation. But and then 11:30 literally in the last 12 hours, we've put together an AI panel. And I think speaking of, I think we've got almost every, except for Africa, perhaps. We have most of the continents covered, and what they see happening in AI, which is a big theme, of course, in World with Purpose. So stick around for the 11, stick around for the 11:30. I think you're gonna learn a lot. And we have an event. If I look at the screen, we do have an event coming up, which is on some overlapping themes with disruptive tech. We're calling it our Tech Summit. That'll be a series of panels, just to show you, and we might be adding one, talking with Lincoln Ellis, on the secondaries market as it relates to tech, but yeah, AI, health, ed, fin, tech, digital, include blockchain, etc., consumer media, energy, industrials, dual use, and space. That is on the 25th here in New York. Anything else before we move to inflation? Again, back on Riyadh, if you're coming, just to point out, we do need you basically to indicate interest through this form. Maybe I'll put that form as a first step into the chat. And if you're an allocator, you have you're most likely going to be, as long as you're congruent with the purpose, you'll be our guest. If you're not, and then by allocator, you're an LP, you're not a fund, because the funds will benefit from this. So just like our other events. So if you're an LP allocator and you're congruent, you can be our guest. We want those partnerships to happen with Saudi and vice versa. And if not, then you can register and be a delegate again if you're congruent with the group we're trying to form there. And that's in that form I just put in the chat. 10:58. Any other questions? Depender, where have you been all my life?
Man, traveling, Amsterdam, Davos, India.
Well, we're going to India. If I scroll down up all these interviews, it's going to make you dizzy. Mumbai.
I should go to Delhi, man.
It's not hard to add on Delhi. Last time I was in Delhi, the power went off every 20 minutes, but
it doesn't do that anymore. Delhi or Gurgaon, really, and I can find a spot to host it and everything too.
Okay. Well, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Any other questions, everyone?
If no, while we're waiting for Stephen, if any other people on this call haven't been to Davos before, should be on your bucket list.
Well, one thing I did want to ask, I got Matthew Friedman. I don't know where you are, Matthew, but before we talk about inflation, well, actually it's related, right? Tariffs.
Totally related.